Welcome to the instant reaction show from Andy Staples on 3. I'm Andy. He's Jesse Simonton. And we just watched Coach Prime go beat TCU. 4 100-yard receivers. Travis Hunter with the best two-way performance we've seen in college football since I don't know when. Deion Sanders put a hot tub on the plane for him.
No gimmick, got the receipts. I mean, I'm still coming down from that. That was I was totally wrong. I had TCU minus 20 because I just thought this is a team that punted, legitimately punted on spring practice. 50 some odd new players, obviously a brand new coaching staff. We don't know what Jackson Sanders is going to look like, making the transition. And it was remarkable. And, I mean, a transcendent performance by Travis Hunter was just one of many unbelievable things in this game. But, man, Fox got their money's worth for the big new kickoff to start the season.
I thought they would be better, but I thought it would take a while for them to get competitive and that they'd need another year or so to get the kind of linemen that you need to be good at this level. They schemed around it for the most part. Sean Lewis, that offense looked a lot like the Kent State offense, but they snapped it fast. Jackson Sanders got the ball out of his hands very fast. They didn't ask too much of that offensive line, but honestly, they protected him well when he needed time.
Well, not only that, I think, Sean Lewis, I thought, did a masterful job manipulating the pocket where he kind of really moved it around on TCU's front. And while they obviously did wear down late, they got the ball into their playmakers' hands, and it was, hey, these are the two plays. Either run around and throw the ball to Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn, or toss it out short and let maybe the fastest guy on the field and Dylan, go run and just scoot 3 touchdowns. Unbelievable.
Well, and I mean, Dylan Edwards was incredible. That's his first college game. And he played high school football in Kansas, but Deion had known him since he was 4 years old. And when he flipped to Colorado, it was a big deal. And the thing is, like, all of the recruiting wins that Deion got seem to have come through. Jeff Fuller in the chat, when was the last time the hiring of a coach was validated after one game? I don't care what Colorado does the rest of this year. They've been horrible in seasons prior. Holy cow. That's the truth. This team was awful. And they just went and beat the team that played for the national title last year.
I mean, this is also, Deion, that opening salvo that he delivered to his team, that went viral way back in December when he took it over. Still had a game to coach at Jackson State, and that was where he delivered the famous, "I'm coming, I'm bringing my Louis." But what's hilarious about that message is that when you go back and read the words that he said, I mean, he really did deliver on. He has the receipts because he delivered on everything he said. Now, the irony is that room basically has 5 people still on the roster today because it has been largely whitewashed completely. But I mean, to talk as much talk as he did and to back it up, to walk the walk in one game, on the road, 110-degree field, just, I mean, I did not see that coming, and I still am just stunned at it was so much fun. I mean, this is what we've been waiting 9 months for.
Did you see who was watching the game? That's the thing. Deion Sanders is like, he has that Tim Tebow, that
like
X
Bill
factor.
Simmons tweeting.
Yeah, like everything he does, people want to watch, and it was people who don't watch college football that were watching this game and talking about it. So Jackson Sanders, by the way, 38 of 47 for 510 yards with 4 touchdowns. That is incredible. Just incredible. So,
and he said after the game that people were like, "Oh, you're a HBCU quarterback. I've never thrown for this many yards in high school or an HBCU game."
Yeah.
First FBS performance.
Well, and the thing is, we watched Nebraska play on Thursday night, Jesse. This team can play with Nebraska. Like, this team can beat Nebraska.
Don't you think they're going to be favored?
Maybe. They very well might, because Nebraska's offense didn't look very functional against Minnesota's defense. So it is amazing how much it has changed. I thought he would be able to win eventually there. I did not think they'd be able to win immediately there. That's the part I think is the most amazing to me.
Well, let me rattle off, and I agree with that too. Long term, I thought that this was going to be a successful. Whether he turned them into some top flight program or he was able to use it as a launching point, I do think that Deion was going to be a success. I was just incredibly impressed, and I tweeted it at halftime just how well coached and crisply competent they looked. And this is, I mean, TCU was the team racking up all the penalties. TCU was the team making kind of the self-inflicted mistakes. Whereas Colorado, yeah, they wore down. Depth is going to be a problem for this team all year, but they were not getting in their own way. And lo and behold, you make just enough plays. You get the one stop, the tackle on 4th and 9, and you pull off a 20-something point upset.
Nathan Mura in the chat, all due respect to Al Michaels, but now I believe in miracles. This is the thing. This is the type of game that gets a bigger audience to college football, because we talked about Deion all season. He moves the meter, but everybody's watching. Kevin Durant's watching this game. People who, like, I saw Rich Eisen tweeting about it during a Michigan game, by the way. Rich Eisen doesn't usually veer away from the Michigan games, but Coach Prime is going to be the show. And if they're winning, and I still, even after what I saw today, I'm still not convinced they're going to be competitive in the Pac-12, because that schedule's pretty hard. As you said, the deeper they get, the thinner the roster will probably look. But, I mean, they came out and showed that they have athletes. And the thing is, Travis Hunter and Dylan Edwards can compete with anybody. They can play with anybody. Travis Hunter was the #1 recruit in the country for a reason.
Yeah, imagine him on Florida State tomorrow night.
Cool.
I mean, think about that.
He wouldn't be playing that much. But okay, so I asked this question during the game on Twitter and got a lot of good answers. Who has delivered this kind of two-way performance in college football in recent years? And Chris Gamble from Ohio State, that national title team in 2002, was probably the closest. Champ Bailey, Miles Jack, when he had to play running back for UCLA, where he was, running for 100 yards and making 13 tackles in the same game. But I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in this era. I mean, we weren't alive when dudes were wearing leather helmets and doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted at you. I tweeted at you. My first thought was Champ Bailey, because he was an All-American that year, and he led a 9-3 Georgia team in receiving with 800 yards or something. But I think if Hunter plays like this, he's going to topple those numbers, by week 10. Yeah. I mean, he's at 130. I mean, he was clearly Shador's favorite target. You watch Succession, Andy?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're a Succession fan. With how Shador Sanders performed today, I think we've now officially reached the Pac-12 quarterbacks are your favorite Succession character. Everybody's awesome. Everybody's awesome, and everybody's going to have their own flavor. Some are going to like Kendall Roy. Some are going to like Logan. Maybe you're a Shiv fan. But, I mean, with Sanders now throwing for 500 yards, you throw his name in the list with Bo Nix, Penix. Obviously, Caleb Williams is going to be kind of the star. I think he probably is the Kendall. But maybe you're a Roman guy, and now Shador Sanders. I mean, it's just –
I think Shador's the Alexander Skarsgård character that comes in and buys something.
There you go. Okay, he's the guy that manipulates it at the end. Yeah,
exactly. It is very exciting to think about this, because I said on the show this week, if Deion wins 4 games this year, 5 games this year, build the man a statue. If he takes him to a bowl game, I mean, you can start putting bricks in there right now. Put the hot tub in the plane. Put the statue out in front of the stadium. Just do it right now. Oh. And I got a text, Jesse, from somebody right after this game ended. How dumb are Georgia Tech people when they could have probably had Deion Sanders if they'd have really tried to get him?
Or South Florida,
Auburn,
or Louisville,
Auburn?
Or Auburn. Yeah,
I think Hugh Freeze going to be fine there, but still.
I mean, then again, the guy literally. When's the last time something has been this hyped up and delivered this was it. Is it like the iPhone? Like,
That's probably
I mean,
it.
is it something like that that was like this hyped up that literally on day one everyone was like, "Well, yep, totally checks out." No lies told.
So here's a stat. Colorado had 2 100-yard receiving performances last season. For the entire season, Dylan Edwards, Travis Hunter, Xavier Weaver, and Jimmy Horn Jr. all went over 100 on Saturday.
Here's another stat for you I saw right at the end of the game. Dylan Edwards had 4 touchdowns today, 4 total touchdowns. Colorado's best player a year ago for the entire 2022 season had 4 touchdowns. Led the team.
It's amazing. Oh, man. Here we go. Sam, let's pump the brakes and see how this plays out over. No, we're not pumping the brakes, Sam. It's week 1. We're overreacting. That's what we're supposed to do.
We only get 12 data points. I mean, you have to overreact a little bit, and that's the fun of this whole deal. Again, no one was picking them to not only win today, but 21-point underdogs.
So, Drano Love in the chat. We're not going to talk about how bad Bryles was. Okay, so one thing I will say about Kendall Bryles and the TCU play calling, there was a point where I might have been yelling at my TV. It's 115 degrees on the field. Your offensive linemen are bigger than them. Just run the ball. But honestly, they were moving the ball fine. It wasn't like they weren't until that last drive they got stuffed.
Yeah, I would say that I thought Kendall, and I tweeted it during the middle of the game too, the Mike Bobo run the damn ball. I mean, come on, like, especially because I think those backs, not only the transfer Sanders from Alabama, but Bailey, had some wiggle back there and some big plays. The bigger concern for TCU is, as good as Shedeur was, this is not going to be like the best offensive line, obviously, the Horned Frogs are going to face. And Joe Gillespie's defense couldn't do anything. That 3-3-5 stack was just giving up so much. I think a lot of it was
Shedeur, though, because they could move the pocket around. Yeah, because they're not going to play. They'll play some court. Now, Dylan Gabriel can move pretty well. They got to actually no. I don't think Oklahoma has TCU. But yeah, they're going to play some mobile quarterbacks in the Big 12. So I think they're going to have to. They're going to have to figure out how to deal with that. But yeah, it's somebody in the chat said, "Oh, here we go." Philip Smashmouth. A majority of the bus remaining schedule will be a cakewalk. No, it will not. No,
they got Oregon and USC the rest of this month.
Yeah, no, this the rest of this month is tough. So, but this is the most excited I've been about something because, again, I was never a Deion hater or a Deion doubter. I thought he'd be successful long-term at Colorado. I just didn't think he'd be successful right away. And the fact that he is doing this now makes me wonder, how good can it be?
And how fast?
Yeah.
Because again, I think it bears repeating, Andy, because I mean, you've covered this sport for so long. I've been around it for a good while now. Neither of us probably could ever remember a team that literally just said, we're going to just punt on spring practice.
Yeah.
Because by adding 50 new players after the spring, kicking off that many guys or running, however you want to, label it, the fact that this literally was a brand new program basically starting, on May 1st, and to have the goods come to this fruition this quickly, it's insane.
B Bean asks, Andy, why didn't the Gators hire Deion? Oh boy. That's a whole nother show. But yeah, this is going to be very exciting. And you do wonder now where the ceiling is for Colorado. And I realize it's one game. I realize that there was no film on these guys, but I'll go back to that. The offense didn't look that different from what Kent State ran with Sean Lewis. So it's just, there are faster people running it and a better quarterback running it. No offense to Colin Schlee, but the tape's there. TCU just couldn't stop it.
No, and I mean, Cephas and some of Tez Walker are two really good receivers from Kent State a year ago. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Walker's name, the NCAA completely screwing him. Cephas is going to make his debut with Penn State tonight. But You run at that go-go speed, and you then marry that with the speed of Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn, Dylan. I mean, Colorado's going to score points all season. I think we
Yes.
know that. That's going to be that's a truism
Yeah,
that you absolutely can take away from this game.
they're probably going to be highly entertaining to the casual fan as well, because they're probably going to give up points all season. That's the other part of this. I think we're going to see quite a few of these games, and great. I can't wait, because the rest of the early afternoon window, Jesse, was not so exciting. Let me throw a score up here for you. Let me throw a score on the screen for you. Oh yeah, Oklahoma 73, Arkansas State nothing. Ooh.
Did they let Butch get on the plane?
Well, General Booty got in the game. That's all I know. We didn't get to see a whole half of Jackson Arnold because it was getting too embarrassing. So they let Davis Bevel play a little bit. Then they let General Booty play. But Oklahoma looked very smooth. Not much more to say about that. Here's one. Utah State, Iowa. The first two drives, I was convinced Brian Ferentz is going to get a lifetime contract. They had their first opening drive touchdown pass, first opening drive of a season touchdown pass since 1991, since Hayden Fry was coaching there. And then the second drive, they go for it on fourth down near the goal line, which with your defense at Iowa, you should do that. And they throw a touchdown pass to Eric All, and you're like, these guys are going to be great. This is all fixed. 24-14. He didn't even meet the requirement against Utah State.
A point short in the opener. That I one of my bold predictions was that the drive for 325 was not going to be a sweat. I think it's going to be a sweat. I think there's going to be some
because
drama.
I said the same thing you did.
I think there's going to be some drama with that. If you can only muster up 24 points against a Utah State team that does not have high expectations this year. Hafley, your boy, did come back and win at least.
Yeah. Jeff Hafley came back. Looked real grim there for the Boston College Eagles, but they came back against Northern Illinois and won. Tennessee, Virginia. First half was a little, J.D. Piquel and I had envisioned this nightmare scenario where Joe Milton airmails a few balls and the Tennessee fans go nuts. And he was one, I think he was 1 of 9 on passes over 10 air yards in the first half. He got it figured out in the second half. 49-10 Tennessee. They looked very, very efficient on offense after they got it figured out. So not going to press any panic buttons there. They felt pretty good. The other guy who looked really good, J.J. McCarthy in Michigan's 30-3 win against East Carolina. I thought they let J.J. unholster the cannon a little bit, which they didn't do a lot last year.
Free hardball.
That's right.
He rolled in with the free hardball.
I love it. Well, first window, Deion is the story. Travis Hunter is the story. Shedeur Sanders is the story. Dylan Edwards is the story. This is going to make this season so much more exciting if they're good. I cannot wait to see what happens next. Jesse, that's how you start week 1 Saturday.
Week 1, incredible. The Fox folks are just, they're just making it rain right now. How excited they are that they have big noon kickoff with Deion back-to-back weeks.
They were sitting there before this game kicked off going, this could have been a terrible mistake. Did we mess up here? Did we do something wrong? And then after the game, they're like, woo, we're putting a hot tub on the plane too.
Exactly.
All right, let's go watch some more football. We'll talk to you after the second window of games.
Let's do it.